الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enlighten our minds and our hearts with iman, with faith that brings us closer to Him and that strengthens our actions that stem out of faith, of strong faith. As we were observing Ashura, the 10th of Muharram, which the Fada'il we spoke about last Friday, there's also an attribution to the family of the Prophet ﷺ, namely Al-Husayn ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, his shahada, his martyrdom, and along with the family of the Prophet ﷺ, many others who have given their lives. This incident, it was a tragic, something that history will never forget. We will never forget as Muslims that what happened to the family of the Prophet ﷺ, what happened to someone who was so close to the Prophet ﷺ, our beloved, about whom the Prophet ﷺ said that when he saw Hassan and Hussein playing around, he said that, "Oh Allah, I love both of them. Allahumma inni uhibbuhuma fa'ahibbahuma." Oh Allah, I love both of them, so you also love both of them. And there are so many numerous ahadith, du'as, affection of the Prophet ﷺ towards his grandchildren. He considered both of them as his own kids, his own child. Someone was so close to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ also prophesied what will occur and what will happen later on. He gave some of those indications, and the scholars of Tariq, the historians of Islam, talk about the tragic incident of their shahada and the aftermath of that what even happened to the environment, that people saw the sky red for many days after their shahada. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is knowledgeable. Whatever He does out of wisdom, He does out of justice. But what is in it for us? What is in it for me as a lesson to take home? I think connecting that with the very recent changes that we have all heard and seen in Afghanistan, I think it's something really strong and interesting that we can take home and learn from connecting those two, is that we talk about Husayn ibn Ali radiallahu anhuma and the family of the Prophet ﷺ, and subsequently those who followed them all the way until this day, merely just a claim that we love someone. Of course, that's the bare minimum of faith. And that's why if you look at the books of Aqidah, the books of Creed, they talk about having that minimum love and connection with the Sahaba and with the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet ﷺ. As the Prophet ﷺ talked about both in the same way. He said that sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that I am leaving behind two things. If you hold on to them tight, you will never go astray. I'm sure most of us, if not all, heard one version of that, which is Can someone help me? It's not a khutbah. Kitabullah wa sunnati. Kitabullah wa sunnati. This is the most common one because it's talked about a lot. But there's another variation of the hadith with almost the same credibility. Strengthened the sahha of sanad, of the chain of narration, which is, it says, the Prophet ﷺ said, Kitabullah wa itrati. The book of Allah and my family. Those two variations, we should always remember those two. Without having love of the family of the Prophet ﷺ, anything that relates to him ﷺ, as the Quran says about a prophet when he was talking to his people, he said, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. I don't ask anything in return. I don't want anything from you. إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Except that you have some corner of your heart for my family. That's part of our faith. That's part of our faith. That we have to love Allah and His Messenger ﷺ in anything that relates to both. Kitabullah relates to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the most part, and the family of the Prophet ﷺ, that includes his children, his grandchildren, his progeny, until this day, his wives, and all the other family members, immediate relatives, uncles, his cousins, right? Ali ibn Abi Talib was his cousin, as he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that I'm the city of knowledge, and Ali is the door of that city. Having that love is important. But what made them so strong? What is the lesson to take home? Is that just having that lip service, it's not going to cut it. You have to work hard. In the surah that is often read on Friday, Fajr, we relate to Surah Al-Kahf in many ways, which there is a component of that, but mainly in Surah Alif Lam Mim Sajda. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the previous nations and the leaders of those nations. And it's something that we want to take if we want to lead the ummah, if we want to be leaders, if we want to have leadership. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ الْكِتَابَ فَلَا تَكُنْ وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ فَلَا تَكُنْ فِي مِرْيَةٍ مِّن لِقَائِهِ وَجَعَلْنَا هُدًى لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا. After talking about there's a long discussion on what does Al-Kitab mean and how does that interpret the Prophet ﷺ meeting Musa ﷺ, or does it mean Musa ﷺ talking to Allah? Long discussion short, we come to the chase of it. That when the leaders of Bani Israel, Allah chose them as leaders, they had this one quality. And it's also common. It doesn't even have to be Muslim leaders. Even non-Muslim leaders have to have this quality. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً. From the people, from the children of Israel, Allah made from them leaders. أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا, that they are guiding others through our order, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَمَّا صَبَرُوا, when they were patient. When they were patient. Patience is the outcome of being steadfast. Not giving up. This didn't work. Mahmud Ghaznawi, who is also from Ghazna, from Afghanistan, the great scholar, leader, that was one of his major reasons why he became that great leader. Sabr, patience, one after the other. It didn't work this time, we'll try it out again. We keep trying. And the Imam has to be with the people. It takes a while. It takes maybe a generation, sometimes 3 generations. sometimes 7 generations to have that fruits coming out of that tree that was sowed 7 generations ago. Sabr, istiqamah, lamma sabr, patience. As you say in English, slowly but surely, it will come. وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نَصْرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Everyone's word can be a lie, can be false, can be interpreted in many ways, and could go wrong, except for the word of Allah in the Quran and what the Prophet ﷺ said. Without a shadow of a doubt, وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نَصْرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Those who are true believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says is the right. Nobody has right on Allah. But Allah puts that right on Himself, and He says that we will help the believers. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. That we will guide them. Indeed, definitely, we will guide those who strive, those who work hard. Quick gratification. That's the selling point of today's, market. Amazon. You click and you get a next day delivery. Quick gratification. That's what we are looking. That's what we are now becoming. That we want quick results. That's not how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes things work. People thought in the earliest time that inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about the people who said to the Prophet that you have lost all of your male children. Nobody's going to come after you to carry your name. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. Those who claim that their progeny will not live. Till this day, at a point, most people thought that the progeny of the Prophet ﷺ through Al-Hassan and Hussein is gone, vanished. 3 or 4 individuals left, remaining. One male, Ali Zayn al-Abidin, could have gone. But today we witness that there are not hundreds, there are thousands of those who come from that same progeny. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's wisdom. That we work hard, put in our effort, and make dua. Especially these days, we should make a special dua. Of course, there's so many places where in particular Muslims are suffering. In Kashmir, in Burma, in Palestine, in Syria, Iraq. A big burden lies on our people, our country. And Afghanistan is looking better now. We have to make dua for those people, for their stability in that region. How many lives were lost on both sides? In particular, the innocent people there. At least the soldiers, they signed up for that. But those innocent children, thousands of them who died over the course of 2 decades. 2 decades. Innocent lives that had nothing to do with the war. Just for a few individuals of the elite class to try to make some quick money. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that region strong. And all the other places who are suffering around the world. The takeaway is slowly but surely. You work hard, be honest, be true to what you believe. Have conviction of that. You will hear a lot of people now making big claims before they were talking against, and now they're going to be in favor because now the tide is in their favor. They're not going against the tide anymore. But those were true people. And Allah knows their intention. Allah knows everyone's intentions. We have to be true. We have to be upright and not give up. Not give up hope. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us true believers, who have istiqamah, who have sabr, who have patience, and are patient until they see it through. If we don't see those good days of prosperity, of adl, of justice in the world, perhaps our children, perhaps our progeny will see that. The Prophet ﷺ gave that prophecy a long time ago, and it has to be true, that there will be only adl and insaf in this world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect our children. Brother Sheikh Madhar, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give shifa to his mother who is going through a surgery. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give her shifa and afiyah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give shifa to all those who are sick in our community, those who have requested for dua. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them quick and a speedy recovery. And those who passed on to the next world, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to elevate their state and grant them the highest ranks in Jannah. Wa sallallahu wa sallam.